Hi there, my name is Toby, and on this channel I want to share a new approach to the human body, a new approach to health and fitness. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's not so much about what you do as how you do it. In other words, this is about optimizing the human body, finding a different way of using the human body, a way that is more efficient. In other words, how can we get more out of this body by putting in less work? And here you can see I'm doing a very simple shoulder exercise. I'm just pulling my arms back and forwards. So what's so special about that? Well, I'm doing something very interesting. This is actually quite complex. I'm working on something I call structural isometrics. I'm using a particular isometric tension in the joints more than the muscles. So here, as I pull back, I'm lifting up my shoulders and rib cage, even looking up to get a massive stretch from the middle of my chest all the way back. And then as I let my hands go forward, I've got to keep my shoulders up and back where they were. So by the time my arms get extended to the front, I've got a massive isometric tension in the shoulder joint. So this is all about the joints. My focus is on the joints, not the muscles. And it doesn't really matter what we do with our body, it's about how can we do whatever it is we're doing better. So I call this body efficiency training. And in this video I'm going to be continuing working on the shoulders. So the last video I worked on that exercise we just saw, so I do suggest you go back and do that and see the details of it. And in this video I'm going a bit further, I'm showing a bit more advanced movements from that particular exercise. And of course it looks like a push-up, so here I'm doing a push-up, but this is not really a push-up at all. This is an extension of isometric tension in the shoulder joint. You see, if we get this isometric tension correct, it's extremely powerful. What we're doing is locking up our body into a powerful structure. The isometric tension in the joints is about locking the bone structure together, and then we use the bone structure unified together to create a force through the body, or resist a force through the body. So here I'm going to an extension, a full body weight push-up. But if you look carefully, you see I've still got an arch in my spine, my shoulders are projecting backwards as I go down, my rib cage is projecting backwards as I go down, I'm not touching the floor, and then I push up by squeezing that isometric tension into the shoulder joints. I'm pushing my arms forward but trying to keep the shoulders up and back. I'm doing exactly what I was doing there standing up. I'm trying to maintain the same body alignment, lying down or standing up. So this is important. I've got to keep the natural S-curve of the spine and keep the shoulders and the hips in their mid position relative to the spine. And if I can find this alignment, it's extremely efficient. Everything becomes easier in your body if you can do this. If the spine is aligned with the hips and the shoulders correctly, we've got very good freedom of movement and we can create very powerful strength with very little effort. And here I'm moving on to machines. Now if you look carefully, I've actually got a nice horse riding stance. I've got an arch in the spine and I'm still doing exactly the same thing. I'm lifting my shoulders up and back, opening up the rib cage, arching back, stretching back, and then from there I'm creating this isometric tension in my shoulders and my torso. I'm pulling in the belly, squeezing the chest, stretching forward, and I'm pushing this weight forward. Now I'm using about 30 kilos. Well, it's 30 kilos. It's not that heavy, it's a reasonable weight, I can feel it, and there you can see I can pump quite fast. But this is effortless. I'm only doing this as long as it feels easy and effortless. And I can say it's effortless because it feels good. It feels pleasurable to me to do this. I'm getting a wonderful stretch in my rib cage and my shoulders, and I'm breathing together with it. And I keep on going, and you can see in this set here, I'm doing about 2 minutes, slow, controlled reps of 30 kilos, and I'm not taking any break. I've hardly got out of breath. And I'm only do this as long as it feels good. The moment I've got any pain, any struggle, I stop. Now I am trying to do some work here. I am actually working. 30 kilograms is a bit of work, but it's about the pleasure of it. It's about the pleasure. I work hard as long as it feels good to me. The moment I'm struggling, it's pointless. Because what am I doing? I'm actually trying to maintain a good structure. The exercise itself is actually irrelevant. That doesn't matter. And in fact, this is a pectoral exercise. This is a bench press. You wouldn't even class this as a shoulder exercise. This is for your chest. But every movement I do with the arms, I am using the shoulder joint. I am trying to create isometric tension in the shoulders to give me strength down the arms, and that is whichever direction I'm moving the arms, it still will come from the shoulder joint. So my approach to the body is very simple. I use the shoulders and I use the hips. Doesn't matter which way the legs are moving, which way the arms are moving, I've got to concentrate on the shoulder joint and the hip joint and the spine. And here, after the set is complete, I've had enough, I'm doing this spinal twist just to release out the spine. Make sure there's no tension left in my spine. Loosen up the shoulders. You see, the structural isometrics is all about body awareness, feeling your whole body and unifying your bone structure together into a single structure, a single unit, and use your whole body as that single unit to do whatever the movement is you want to do. Now here's the next one. I'm doing a pull down, and again, you wouldn't class this as a shoulder exercise. This is for your back, but I'm concentrating on the shoulder joints, even doing this, even doing pull downs. And of course, lifting up is going to be the same, but lifting up above the head, I'm going to do a whole separate video on that. So here we're doing pull downs. Now actually I'm doing a bit further of a pull down. I'm trying to do the movement of a muscle up. So what I'm doing is pulling down the bar and then trying to twist the bar over as if I'm going to push myself up in a muscle up like this. This is a muscle up. This is the full movement. The arms pull down and then they push up. So I'm again only using 30 kilos, and I'm practicing the full range of motion of the shoulder joint. I keep the shoulders up and back. Here, even as I'm pushing the bar down, my shoulders go up, back, but now forward, roll them over. So I'm working the shoulder joint itself and then releasing out to a full stretch in the shoulders and the back. And I'm unifying my whole body. So now here's another one. So I've got the pull down from behind the back. Now what I'm doing here is assuming a horse riding stance. I'm actually moving towards the neutral stance, and this is the neutral stance. It's a half squat position, levering forward at the hips. This is very important. I suggest you watch the videos on this. I'll leave the link to my playlist on the neutral stance. This is a very interesting position. Hips and shoulders are up and back, and the spine is in its neutral position. So you can see from my shoulders down, I've got that exact neutral stance. I've actually taken my bottom slightly off. I'm sitting into this levering forward horse riding stance and creating this movement from the full stretch and the full range of motion of my shoulders. And I'm pinching all the way down to the lower back, pulling in the belly and the abdomen as well. So I'm creating a strong isometric tension throughout my whole structure, and then very carefully pulling down with that entire body structure. So again, even though this looks like I'm using the back, I'm concentrating on the isometric tension in the shoulder joint. I'm trying to stretch and mobilize my shoulders under this pressure, under this work. But the pressure of the movement is still irrelevant to me. The movement doesn't matter. It's about holding my body in the correct alignment and utilizing the movement of the joint under this isometric tension. So this is all about moving the shoulders in the shoulder socket, stretching the shoulder in the shoulder socket, and developing strength and mobility in the shoulders as I move the shoulders around in the socket. So this is all about the tendons and the ligaments more than the muscles. And here I release out to a full stretch, making sure I've stretched out the spine, stretched out the shoulders, twisting a little bit left and right. So I hope this made sense. Check out these other videos here. This is the playlist on the neutral stance and the previous video about the shoulders, and here you can also follow along my basic exercise series from the very beginning. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.